Welcome to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of December 12th, 2020. I'm Caleb Black. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams, our in-studio producer, the Mighty Max Fury. And we're going to call this segment, we called it. We're going to talk about the AEW Impact working relationship that has been established, something that we're all very excited about. We mentioned in previous videos, if you go back to episode 13 of Pro Wrestling Throwdown sometime in August, based off of a couple of tweets that were exchanged between FTR and the North, we booked an AEW Impact pay-per-view.
Yes.
And we've discussed at length in numerous videos about how these companies should come together because that's the only way to fight the machine. And in the words of Mr. James E. Cornette, wouldn't you know who won the pony? We did! Because...
Nailed it.
At Winter is Coming, Kenny Omega takes the AEW World Championship against Jon Moxley, runs out the building with Don Callis. Don Callis announces you're going to find out what's going on Tuesday night on Access TV on Impact. Shows up on Impact, cuts a little interview. They didn't say much, but they said just enough to keep you watching. It's also worth noting that Impact drew 750,000 viewers, up from 125. That is a 300% increase in regular viewership that AEW brought over, completely unopposed to NXT on the Wednesday Night Wars.
Not to mention also that Kenny Omega is booked for next week's Impact show.
Yes, he is. Now, we didn't get to see a whole lot of this fall back this previous week on NXT or AEW.
No.
But we will. It's going to take time.
It's a slow burn. You don't want to hot shot. You don't want to hot shot it. You don't want to pull the trigger too fast. You want to build.
Yeah.
You want the build to be Omega coming to Impact and Don Callis doing all he can for Omega, and you want the Impact champion to be like, I love how you bring people in from other federations with their title, and you show them the respect you should be showing your champion.
Yeah.
And then you're off to the races.
It's worth mentioning, I believe, and I could be wrong, I believe Kenny Omega is still the AAA World, Mega Champion.
Yes, he is.
So currently he holds the AAA title, the AEW World title. And is there another belt? No, I don't believe so. I believe it's just the two.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, this is something that somebody else had pointed out to me. Actually, I think you remarked about it. AEW, because in the context of what I'm about to say, they've been telling us this was coming for weeks. They've been dropping subtle hints.
Yeah. And
some people didn't even notice. For instance, you're the one who remarked that during the Vegas segment with MJF and Jericho, that Conan happened to be there.
Also, the Hornswoggle was there.
Hornswoggle from Impact, Conan, who's the head booker and I believe part owner of AAA.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been telling you that's going to happen. EC3 already made the transition over to Ring of Honor. And we don't know what EC3's contract status currently is with Impact, but it's not definitively done. But it's a great way to bridge that gap. And then I had another thought.
Well, and then also you have Rocky Romero taking part in the Ring of Honor
you mean
tournament.
AC Romero?
No.
Oh, is it Rocky Romero? Really? Okay.
Taking place in the Ring of Honor tournament that took place.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, not Ring of Honor. MLW.
Yeah.
He wrestled somebody from Impact.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, on that show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've been out
laying the groundwork for a little while.
Yeah.
James Storm was already working tandem Impact and NWA dates.
Yeah.
They've been telling us for a while that it was happening. And you saw little pieces move into place. This was another thought I had. I always wondered why the Good Brothers made their choice to go to Impact. When they got released, I'm absolutely certain, I'm positive, that the Young Bucks made a move to get them brought over to AEW. But would you bring them there directly, or would you send them to Impact to bridge the gap?
Well, the Young Bucks in a recent interview talked about they've been in Tony Khan's ear for over a year.
Yeah.
About this. Well, that's how long
you remember the original business plan, the original statement made by AEW was that they were going to turn AEW into a place where wrestlers could be legitimate independent contractors.
Yes.
Where people could go and show up at different places. Oh, I've totally neglected to mention AEW's already established working relationship with the NWA.
Yeah.
Which means if you look at all of the wrestling promotions just in this combination, just talking about this, AEW, Impact, Ring of Honor, MLW, AAA, the Impact has a working relationship with Noah.
Yeah.
the NWA automatically has a working relationship with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
AEW with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
They haven't reestablished. They haven't come. They're still negotiating how that's going to work.
But what I'm saying is the connection to them with Moxley being the
United States champion, and if Kota Ibushi was the one who attacked John Moxley before the G1 United States title match,
right?
And we're completely glossing over the fact that Wrestle Kingdom takes place in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Japan's biggest pay-per-view, Wrestle Kingdom, 3 weeks away. We've got Ring of Honor pay-per-view this weekend. We've got a TNA pay-per-view this weekend. Just the rest of 2020 and the first part of 2021, we could see so many major moves. And this is the shit we've been talking about.
Now, here's the deal. Yeah, they talk about the machine, how we talked about the...
New York.
The companies should get together to overthrow the machine. What if... Now, I pose this question, what if?
Pose away.
A Royal Rumble in January takes place. And Kenny Omega is in the Royal Rumble.
I will tell you this much. If that happens, if that were to happen, that would be the biggest culminative coup in wrestling history. And let me tell you why. Because it would mean that WWE is part of the fold. Which I'm not opposed to that idea. They need the ratings. They obviously care about the wrestling business enough to stimulate it. I really... Why not? Why be...
It's a very serious question.
If all of these other companies, especially with the power that NJPW has, and the power that the money that all of the companies collectively have, what does the WWE have to gain from being the odd man out?
Right.
Because then they are the evil empire. Then they are the standalone, now it's us against the world, which, again, would make for great TV for the WWE if they acknowledged the collective and they made themselves the fucking, the evil empire. Fuck yeah, we are. And we're going to buy all your talent. And we're going to pay them bunches of money. And we're going to have another show on fucking Thursday nights just because we can afford it. Like, fucking let's get after it.
But there's a good way for that all not to happen and it all go to shit.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Oh, for sure.
So these companies have now, they're all forming together, like you're saying. And we've been talking a lot about these wrestlers wanting to form a wrestlers' union.
Yep.
Now, all it would take, in my view, is for one of these companies to bring it up.
Yeah.
And to start. And then to collect all these others. Well, then WWE's kind of screwed because they're not going to be able to pay their superstars anymore because they're not getting the same benefits.
Right. Well, and the appeal to the union is health insurance. You're covered forever once you're part of that SAG union. And they would be covered by the Screen Actors, Stunt Actors Union, which is completely appropriate and should be.
Yes.
But again, that would also change the narrative. Why is the WWE going to be the holdout? Are they going to be the ones who don't unionize?
Well, so far, they kind of seem to be. I think everybody else would be in favor of it.
Yeah. It's going to be really interesting. And again, fucking COVID, boys.
Oh, yes.
Because we don't miss a beat out here.
No, not at all. But I'm just saying, would be interesting.
Never say never in pro wrestling, man. Never say never. And especially the other part, too, that I think is super fascinating is now that NXT is continuing its expansion, that could mix up quite a bit, too.
Yeah.
The thing about people don't understand about AEW and even Impact is they are hugely popular in the ratings overseas in the UK. Impact was drawing better ratings in the UK than Raw was in Impact's 2010 to 2015 run. They were pulling better ratings in the UK than Raw was doing domestically, or doing about the same.
Yeah.
So when you look at these foreign expansions, now we're really going to start talking about markets. Now we're really going to start talking about forward expansion. We're really going to be looking at where's wrestling going to go globally, working from these regional perspectives. And the coolest part is we talked about MLW has that working. They've got a Telemundo deal on one of the Spanish primary channels.
Telemundo.
So that right there, national access, AAA, all over, national access in Mexico. UK already have cable brandings. For all of these companies, with the exception of MLW. Ring of Honor, syndicated broadcasting through Sinclair all over. You can access Ring of Honor if you have basic cable with an antenna. If that's the only wrestling you watch, that's the one. Except now you can watch SmackDown on Fox.
Right.
But it's an interesting conversation. And very cool. The thing I'm most looking into is what are we going to see in regards to contracts in a year? Who's going to stick with the WWE if they stand by themselves? Who's going to stay? You're obviously going to have guys who are like so ingrained that the money's so good they can't leave. Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. I'm not going to say that for Drew McIntyre, but there are going to be guys who hold out. And obviously there are going to be opportunities for guys who can't get... Let's be fair, just because this collective's happening doesn't mean everybody's going to get to play.
Right.
So that's where the WWE can really kind of scout the indies more and be like, well, if we pick these guys up, they can't have them. They can expand all of their developmental shit that way. But it's going to be which guys are staying, which guys are leaving, and which guys opt out of being part of the collective to go to the WWE. Because we've only gotten guys who've left the WWE to show up in AEW. We haven't had a guy leave AEW yet to go to the WWE. The closest we got to that was the Rascals leaving Impact to show up at the Performance Center.
Right.
So this conversation is going to be ongoing for a long time. But
we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, but I'm fucking excited. Like, we're going to have territory warfare on TV in 2020. Like, that's never been... The only problem you're going to run into is whose champion's the real champion.
Correct.
That's the only problem. Is every show going to relegate their world title? Because there are only two world titles in this conversation that have the grandeur of being your main title. That's your NWA title and your IWGP World Heavyweight title from NJPW. Those are the two titles that have been around the longest. Those are the two titles that have the most name value.
Yeah.
So are we going to get Nick Aldis touring again as a bona fide NWA champion, defending all over the place? Could be. We don't know. Is Kenny Omega going to be world champion of every company? Could be.
We don't know.
We don't know. But man, it's fun to think about and fun to speculate about.
It really is. It makes the end of this year and the beginning of next year so much more interesting.
Especially how hard this year was for wrestling. Think about all the cool shit we didn't get. We didn't get a real WrestleMania with fans.
No.
We didn't get Blood and Guts. We didn't get the match beyond. We didn't get all these matches that were supposed to happen because of COVID. We haven't had fans in a wrestling arena. So to kick 2021 going in when we can finally start letting people back in the doors, what a great way to start that conversation. What a great way to say, hey, fucking wrestling is still on and it's going to be even better next year when the doors reopen.
It's going to be interesting to see what Wrestle Kingdom looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, this close. I mean, we got 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Something crazy could happen. Remember, we talked about the CM Punk Will Ospreay challenge. Punk hasn't responded.
No, I mean just fan-wise.
They've already got fans in Japan because Japan actually followed their guidelines and are allowing people back in to the venues. So they could sell out 60,000 people next 3 weeks. Both nights.
It's going to be interesting.
Think about it, boys. We're on the precipice of a real change. Something we've all been begging for. The WWE will have to change its programming.
Revolution.
That's right. That was our conversational piece about this little collective thing, which was mostly me just yabbering on, which is fine.
No one listens
Fell
anyway.
asleep twice.
Let us know what you guys think about the collective move. What are some matches you'd like to see? What are some outcomes you'd like to see? Send us an email at prowrestlingthrowdown@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/prowrestlingthrowdown. Follow us on Twitter at prowrestlingtd. Tune in a couple weeks when we announce we're going to be live streaming back again from Twitch. Leave us a comment down below after you like and subscribe. Stay tuned. We got more videos coming for you this week.